in attendance in total. It really was a wonderful story for football. The fact that the Middlesbrough fans, 1,200 of them had travelled down to watch the game in support in return for what obviously Hartlepool did in 1986 for them. The difference on the day was Wrexham's new on-loan striker from Blackpool, Scott Quigley. 2 great debut goals from him. It finishes Hartlepool United 0, Wrexham 2.
Thank you, Jeff. Well, we started the day talking about Arsenal and whether Arsene Wenger can turn things around and maintain his grip at the Emirates. How do you look at today? I mean, they'd won the game. They were 3 up after 13 minutes, 4 up after 22 minutes. The game was over by then.
Yeah, they played particularly well, Arsenal. And as you say, the game was over early. Palace contributed to that. Palace aren't a team that just come in and sit back and park the bus as a lot of teams do. They like to attack. They've got attacking players, Zaha and obviously Benteke. Are always a handful. So they've came and sort of gone at Arsenal a little bit. It was a bit end-to-end throughout the game, a cracking game. Arsenal's class has shone through, but as I said earlier, they often beat the lesser teams, let's say, in the league. When they come up against the big boys, I just don't think they've got enough quality.
Do they look better balanced with a back four, though, Arsenal?
Yes.
Only the 4th time this season they played a back four.
Yeah, I mean, Arsenal players have been used to a back four. Well, Arsene Wenger's teams have always been a back four, only until recently. So I think a back four probably suits the team as well as the individual defenders, because we all spoke beforehand about some of the poor defenders they've got. You know, you could say that their full-backs are decent in Monreal and Bellerin. Monreal had a great game before he got brought off. So I do think a back four probably suits them better.
And what about Crystal Palace, Chris? When you look at it, they've got 25 points. Listen, there is a mass of teams now, which almost involves Watford, arguably even Everton on 28 points. Yeah. We're all within striking distance of the bottom. But the other side with Crystal Palace, Benteke, Zaha, you just feel, don't you, that the other end of the field, they've got enough to win games?
Yeah, and the impact which Roy Hodgson has made in a relatively short period of time. I think they'll be fine. I think it was, a blip today. But, I mean, they look solid. And they've got that goal threat. They've got that X factor in Zaha. I think they'll be fine.
OK, let's just go back to Arsenal and look at what they're going to do in the next 7 games, because Michael was talking about the fact that they tend to win these sorts of games, but it's against the bigger teams that they struggle. The League Cup semi-final 2nd leg this week, home to Everton in a couple of weeks' time, so Theo Walcott back. Then the North London derby, obviously got the Europa League, and then Manchester City at home. I wonder, John Hartson, you played for Arsenal, whether, although he's never put any store by it at all, the League Cup semi-final is actually quite a big game for Arsene Wenger.
Well, yeah, they go into it on the Wednesday night. They had a good draw at Stamford Bridge. They got a 0-0. They're the home team. They probably think, that may be a little advantage for them, albeit Chelsea a very good team. And I think maybe the Europa League, they have to start looking at that now really, really seriously, like Manchester United did last season in terms of winning it. It's a place into the Champions League for Arsenal. Will they finish top 4? Aubameyang come in? Mkhitaryan coming, yeah, that'll give them a lift, a bit of a boost. But in terms of that top 4 place, they're going to have to finish above Liverpool, Spurs, because you think the 2 Man United teams 2 Manchester teams will be there. Yeah. Chelsea will be there. So they really have to go some Arsenal.
Do you think they can, John?
I don't think they'll make it, Chris. I don't think they'll make the top 4. I think their best way to the Champions League is what, as I just alluded to, winning the Europa League, which is not easy. Some good teams that have dropped out of the Champions League, that they're up against in the Europa League.
It's staggering.
Good enough. Sorry, Michael.
Sorry. No, I was just going to say it's staggering how Arsene Wenger played a weakened team against Nottingham Forest in the FA Cup.
Yeah.
I mean, that competition has saved his life for the last few years. It's the only thing they've won. And then he goes and plays a weakened team again.
Well, not only a weakened team, but no one on the bench, was there? No one to say.
That was staggering.
I wouldn't see him being good enough to win the UEFA Cup this year, John, personally.
Europa League.
The Europa League. I wouldn't see him winning it.
Do you think they've got to prioritise it, Doug?
Yeah, I mean, it's a...
yeah,
of course.
I mean, in the top 4.
They did it last year, Man United, didn't they? But that Arsenal team, I still think there's teams in that competition now that will beat them.
Yeah, I think Arsenal, especially at home, I think they're a hard team to beat at home. I think they're a fantastic team. I think away, they're a little bit soft. I really do.
Oh, for sure.
If you look at Bournemouth last week, there's too many players in that Arsenal team who are, for me, like homers, play well at home, but when it comes to away and you've got to pull your socks up and really battle, there's not enough in the team. And if you're going to win titles or finish in the Champions League top 4 spots, that's the type of team you have to run.
I don't think anybody thinks they'll finish in the top 4, do they? No. So it's going to have to be the Europa League.
Yeah, and that's why.
You've got Atletico Madrid in there, haven't you? You've got Lyon, you've got AC Milan,
Celtic.
You've got
and that's why I agree with Michael. Why you can't play a weakened team against Nottingham Forest, and that's no disrespect to Forest. No. And the managers will come out, as Eddie Howe says, that the team that I put on we thought was good enough to go and win the game, but to have no ammunition on the bench, the FA Cup's a massive trophy to win. And he's won it very good time.
Saved it.
And
he'll have to go a lot stronger in the Europa League.
But the League Cup, as I said, if he wins that, it's another trophy for him.
Well, exactly. That's why he might take it quite seriously.
Yeah.
It keeps people off my back if Arsenal get to a cup final.
Chelsea will have a go, won't they? I think Chelsea will go there strong.
Well, they go strong because their squad's not that deep. They don't, it's not like they can rotate that much, which has been why up until today they've looked so tired the last couple of weeks, haven't they? They didn't, Hazard in particular, but he looked full of it today. Hazard,
he was buzzing. Yeah.
OK, let's go to Jules, see what she's got for us.
My eyes, I'm already salivating over the havoc that he's going to cause at United with Sanchez.
Well, Jose Mourinho has just said, I think he's coming. He's talking about Sanchez, of course. I said it to earlier about Michael, about if Aubameyang goes to Arsenal, what impact does that have on Lacazette? Lacazette has to say, right, I'm showing you. And that's what Martial's doing, is he's saying, fine, Sanchez might come, but look at the way I'm playing.
Listen, I think the remedy of success is competition. And I think when I had it all my life, Gerrard, people like that, Paul Scholes or Keane at Manchester United, and when you've got a competition, you all know as professional football, you have to lift your game. If you hear that someone's coming in, you're thinking, well...
might be my place.
Might be my place, my place, and nature would tell you more than anyone else. So the fact that Sanchez will come in and do that will make Martial, who I think's been in and out, we know he's got undoubted ability, but not produced it on a regular basis. And to win titles and win trophies, you've got to keep producing it week in and week out. They're the great players, not the ones like... who scored 2 goals in one game against Palace or something like that. You've got to do it week in and week out. And I think, you need that at Man United if you're going to start competing with City.
He's got to get the balance right as well, hasn't he? And what I mean by that is as much the balance on the team, but also he doesn't want Rashford or Martial or Lingard, who's been fabulous of late, not to get enough football, so they turn around and go, listen, this is no good to me. Particularly at the moment, all three of them in a World Cup year, Harry.
Well, Rashford, I mean, he's a fantastic talent, and his opportunities this year have been really limited, and they're only going to get more limited now, which is, I think he's a kid really. If he'd played on a regular basis, he could have had a fantastic season. But it seems that he's down the pecking order, which is a blow to him.
So, but from the manager's point of view, that's quite a balancing act, isn't it? He wants to keep them happy. He clearly doesn't want to get rid of them.
You want to keep them happy,
but they're not going to be. They're going to be thinking, with the best one in the world, if you're Rashford, you're going to think, well, I'm going to play even less now with Sanchez coming.
But they're in all competitions, and there really is going to be a need for a squad there. They've got it all to play for still, and. He's not afraid to. He doesn't care too much about who he leaves out, does he, Jose?
Yeah.
So,
and Sanchez as well, because he is top notch.
Yeah,
he's Man United's De Bruyne. No matter, it's not a case of if he plays, it's where Jose Mourinho plays him. In behind the front, as Incy said earlier on, he can play through the middle. He can play number 10. He can play wide. Sanchez, when he's available, he plays because he is on a different planet.
He'll be the 11th man to play for both Pep Guardiola and Jose Mourinho, which obviously De Bruyne did as well. They're playing Huddersfield soon, Manchester United.
Oh, let's not talk about that.
You're going to go on holiday. No, away Yeovil in the Cup. The game at Wembley will be fantastic. Of course, Huddersfield at home, and then of course Sevilla in the Champions League. And look at that. Look at February if you're a Manchester United fan. You start with the Huddersfield game. Sevilla, Chelsea, Liverpool. Wow. What did you say? Well, that's it, Michael, the squad. So you have to save your Jose to Rashford. I keep picking on Rashford only because he hasn't played as much as the others. Your time will come. You have to keep reassuring him, don't you? I think so. I think, he's not going to... Sanchez isn't going to play up front because Lukaku is obviously in that place and they've spent a lot of money. The left side is probably the least needed, I think. You got Martial today that was very good, and he's a very good player, and you got Rashford that we've just spoken about. Yeah. The rest of the, Lingard's playing particularly well. Lingard's been fantastic form.
So really on the right-hand side is where you'd say you could strengthen, but Sanchez doesn't often play there. But I agree with John. He is going to play. Yeah. It's just a question of where.
It's just, ultimately they have to sign the best players to compete with Manchester City. Second is last in Manchester.
Yeah. But from an England point of view, Gareth Southgate was at Goodison today. Lingard has been so good in the last couple of months.
Yeah.
You know, if the World Cup were to start next week, he's in the squad, isn't he? There's no doubt about that. But again, you know, Gareth Southgate will be watching how much football he plays in the next few months.
Yeah, but that's not Jose Mourinho's concern, is it? He's not going to worry about that. He's going to worry solely about Manchester United. But of course, you know, the closer the World Cup, you know, gets, Gareth Southgate ideally will want all his players playing.